to Book World of Great Escape. I'm author CJ Peterson. My co-host over here is author Michael Scott Clifton. Today we have for you a fun and exciting one. We have Laura Evans, who is the director of the first annual Texas Book Lovers Convention. Welcome, Laura.
I'm so glad to be here. I'm very excited.
So are we. So, Texas Book Lovers Convention. Where is it? When is it? And what can you tell us about it?
So it is a multi-genre, multi-age book lovers convention. So it's for anybody, any age, and it's free to attend. It's in Denton, Texas, at the Denton Civic Center, and it's going to be July 18th and 19th.
Oh, very nice. So, which authors can you tell us so far that are potentially going to be there that you know of?
One that I'm really excited about, my friend that I brag about knowing on TikTok all the time, Jamie Applegate Hunter, who has a Amazon best-selling series, the Umber King series, the Eternum series. She's going to be there. She has a new release this week called Brutally Yours. And so I'm excited about her coming in. I said, I really booked you at this convention more so I could actually meet you face to face and not just send you messages on TikTok than, anything, but I'm going to get signed copies of all of her books.
It looks like you have one who's going to be there.
All right.
Yeah, I believe that is Lucy O, I think. That's Jordan, I think is her name, her pen name, I believe is Lucy O.
Gotcha.
So,
well, it sounds like it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So, do you have any other ones that are going to be there off the top of your head?
We are going to have a couple of horror people that I know of, Dicey Grenor and Matt Michelli. That's kind of, those are people I met at the previous conventions I helped run at Texas Author and Reader Con. Also have a lot of friends. RJ Hansen is a local author that actually lives in the same town that I live in, a little small town in North Texas. We do a lot of conventions together. He writes high fantasy, really great epic adventure books. Lots of battle. If you like Lord of the Rings and you like Game of Thrones, RJ Hansen's your guy.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
Wow.
Okay, cool. Before we dive further into it, Mike, do you have anything coming up author-wise for you?
Well, I've got the Hot Springs SpaCon that will be May 16th and 17th. And let's see, last couple weeks ago, we had I spoke at the Texas Tyler Arts Festival, which I was expecting to go into and talk to some students about, writing. And a friend of mine is dean of students there, and go in and it's a lecture hall, and half the people there are professors. And so, so I thought, okay, talk about walking into the lion's den. But anyway, it was actually fun, and had a lot of good questions. And, there were students in there as well, but, having a public education background, I kind of knew a little bit, about what to expect, but I didn't know it was going to be full of professors. And then, of course, and we were talking earlier in the podcast before the podcast, the Hot Link Festival, the Pittsburgh Hot Link Festival was the following day. And there were a lot of authors there, and some I think are going to be at the Texas Book Lovers Convention as well.
Yeah, I think Ian Griffin was there. He's I always joke that he's my Texas Author Con buddy, because we got paired up the first year we were both there right next to each other.
Very cool.
And he was actually the one that sort of ramrodded the author row there at the Texas Hot Link Festival. Started out with just him, I think, several years ago, and now there's 20-something authors scattered up and down Main Street, and it was quite successful. I mean, the weather was perfect. If you've ever been in Pittsburgh, Texas, anytime near summer, it can be miserably hot. but it was actually a
Like
cool
nice
trip.
like the weather. It's kind of like the Chicago Festival. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah. For some reason, all of my events in May are outdoors. I'm like, why are we doing this to ourselves?
Hey, I've learned, and I think CJ is, because we've done some as well. You got to pick and choose those according to the time of the year.
Mhm.
You always have something that you can weigh down your canopy
Yeah.
with because you never know.
There are
Please, no
canopies
wind.
rattling around in my trunk every day when I go to my day job.
Yep. You never know what you're going to get. So, what do you have coming up then, Mike?
I've got like I said, I've got SpaCon in May, and in June we're actually visiting my brother and his wife in Myrtle Beach. So we'll be there for a fabulous fun-filled week, and then the Mississippi Comic Con, which is one of the largest ones we go to. That'll be in Jackson, Mississippi, and it will be, let's see, July 25th, 26th, and 27th. And it's a beautiful drive. Let me tell you, going through southern Louisiana and crossing, the Mississippi to go to Jackson. It's kind of long, but it's always been a really good Comic-Con, very well attended.
Very cool. Well, we were able to add a Comic-Con to our list. We're actually going to be going to Kimo, Kauai in Conroe, Texas, and that's going to be June 6th and 7th. So we're going to be heading there in Conroe, Texas to Kimo, Kauai. I'm going to be debuting my Star Wars cosplay. Super excited for that. I'll be with my Magic Making Mischief sisters for that one.
I have to know who you're cosplaying.
I'll be doing a Jedi Knight.
Awesome.
There's no redhead Jedi Knight, so I'm going to make one.
That works.
I know. So I'm making one up. And then July 18th and 19th, we have the East Texas Comic-Con in Longview.
Mhm.
That's one of the ones I run the floor for. And then mark your calendars for Piney Woods Comic-Con in Lufkin on the 29th and 30th. Another one that I run the floor for. That'll be heading into Lufkin on the 29th and 30th. Piney Woods Comic-Con in Lufkin. So mark your calendars for those coming up. That's currently what I have on my calendar. But let's head back over. We have, let's see if I have pronounced that right.
Keelan.
As we're looking forward to the Texas Book Lovers Con. So heading back into the con. So you said it's free to get in. I'm assuming parking.
Yeah, free parking. We're using the Civic Center, and so all of the public parking spaces that are available for the Quakertown Park that's right next door, and for the different city offices that'll be closed on the weekends. They're right there by the library. That'll all be available for us to park in. So,
okay. Is there going to be any other vendors or food trucks or anything like that?
Oh, we are working on getting food trucks booked right now. I have one committed so far that is going to have it's a sort of fusion, Mexican fusion with Indian food.
Ooh.
And so their stuff looks amazing. I'm going to have to make a trip to Denton. I live about an hour away, and just do some taste testing at some of the people that have applied and kind of see what they've got going on. But we have kind of a limited space because we're not going to take up parking space to have our food trucks there. We're actually going to put them on the loading dock.
That's her. Is that her as in an author, or is that
Keelan? That's him. That's my husband and I best friend. He's also one of the vendors.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So we're going to have the food trucks park out there so that they don't take up parking that all of our guests would be using, but it's very accessible for just walk out of the con, go get you some food, come back in, attend a panel, see some vendors. And the panels, I'm very excited about that. We started talking about those this week. I made my first post about it today for the fantasy and folklore. We announced who the panelists are going to be for that. We have a romance and romantasy panel. We have a horror panel, trying to think just off the top of my head. Oh, I had to split one into two panels and create 2 days worth of panels because we had so many people that wanted to share information that they have about becoming an indie author. And so I had so many people volunteer for that panel, I decided to do 2. And I've met a lot of indie author friends through people just coming to conventions and saying, okay, how did you get into this? And so one of our panels is going to be a indie author how to get started panel. We'll have one on Saturday and Sunday. And so we'll have 2 different groups of people who are able to give a wealth of knowledge from years of running small print publishing, indie author publishing, give tips and tricks on marketing, that sort of thing. What do you need to do to get started in indie publishing? And so that really helps with the networking.
George wants to know if they missed who was on the panel. I can't remember if they signed up.
Oh, so the signups for that was announced in we have a Facebook group. And so that the signups for that is closed, but I do need a moderator if you're interested. I need a moderator for the historical fiction. So if she's interested in that, I still have that spot open. But yeah, we've got a lot of variety of authors, different genres this year that I really think is going to bring a good draw crossover for different ages, because we've got some children's authors there. We have young adults, middle age. We're going to do a young adult panel as well. And so we really have a variety of, there's a mix of everything at this con. And so I've done a lot of events that are either romance focused or supernatural focused or horror focused, and been a author at those events. And it's I feel like compared to the ones I do that are all genre, they just don't do as well for the author. You don't get as many sales because you are specific to that one genre. And so there's not a big convention that I can find in Texas that is all genres. And so that's kind of the idea behind it. Is I had been a part of that at Texas Author and Reader Con, and with Texas Author and Reader Con shifting back to the horror focus, it really gave us the chance to, all of those authors were like, we don't have anything else like this.
Right.
Right. And so that's why I kind of carried the torch on it and was like, you know what, we're going to do something that's all ages, it's for everybody. It doesn't matter, who you are, what you like to read, we have something for you.
And that's what I like about this, is because just like Texas, it's big. And it's all inclusive, just like Texas, because Texas isn't just one thing. It's all things. And your con isn't just one thing, it's all the things. How can Jordan get a hold of you? Because she has more questions.
Jordan, you can shoot me an email at texasbookloverscon@gmail.com.
Okay, that way you can talk.
And anybody else has any questions about the con, feel free to shoot me an email. And there's a thing on the website that's flashing at the bottom there. You can fill out the form on there.
Cool.
Also, you can Facebook message the page, the Texas Author, Texas Book Lovers Con Facebook page.
Very cool. So are you going to have any other little events going on at the same time other than panels and the authors themselves?
There's going to be some fun little things thrown in there. Something I started last year at Texas Author and Reader Con was we made punch cards. And so that way, if you bought a book from author, you could have them initial for the book on there and fill up a spot. And so if you bought 5 books at one author's table, you fill up your whole card. But the more cards you fill up, the more chances you get to win this giant basket full of stuff. And so we have all the authors that want to participate throw in books, merchandise, gift cards, things like that. And we build these gift baskets. And then we hand out the cards as people come in. And then all they've got to do when they, buy a book, I say, hey, do you have a card? And I'll initial it for you. And I've had people buy my entire series because they're like, well, I have 3 spots left. I guess I'll get those filled.
Right.
But that also promotes like buying from multiple tables and that sort of thing. And it adds to the fun of, hey, I could win a prize.
Mhm.
And so we had somebody last year literally had to borrow a cart from the convention center
Right.
because they had bought so many books and then they won the basket.
Well,
And so they needed help getting it to their car. So the convention center brought a cart out.
I
So-
mean, you get a good book and you get entered into
right.
You
Right.
can't go wrong.
Yeah.
And I told her, I was like, hey, if you get duplicates in there, I guess you can just sell them online. And she goes, no, those are my gifts for the rest of the year. Everybody's getting books. So she was like, birthday, Christmas, whatever, you're getting books.
You can also
But-
take them to the library. Your local
Yeah.
library.
Yeah.
I'm just
So the Texas Book Lovers Convention is a multi-genre convention of all authors, all books, and we talked a little bit before the podcast again, and I was going to tell you, well, you'd like to ask you this question. I thought that the Comic-Con last year, with the Texas Authors and Readers Con, loved it. Thought it was great because you could get any book from romance to horror to fantasy to historical fiction. And, so if you're a book lover, man, you just couldn't. You couldn't find a better place to find your next great read. And I was a little puzzled as to why, sort of went back to the original genesis of it, which was strictly horror, lit HorrorCon before. But one of the things that I have observed over the course of being an indie author for the last 15 or 20 years is that book events that strictly cater to readers and book lovers rarely seem to get much of a crowd, attract much of a crowd, unless they're paired with other venues. For example, Comic-Cons like what CJ is part of. If you're an author and you're a fantasy writer, hey, Comic-Cons are great places to sell books. But this one, that the genesis of what you're going to with Texas Book Lovers Convention is the first time I've ever really been to an atmosphere in a place like that, where you had tons of people and just they're looking for books. I don't know if it was a location. I don't know if it was like the attraction of the authors that people like to follow. But I kind of wanted to get your take on that as to how you see that going forward with your Texas Book Lovers Convention.
So I think a lot of it is the culture change with TikTok. I think that's a lot of it that drives it, is that people are getting back into reading.
Okay.
And Book Talk really helps them connect with other people that like things like they like. And so the online community feels more connected. So I've seen we run, some low end ads that are just little video clips of, hey, do you want to go to a adult book fair? Do you miss the feeling of the Scholastic Book Fair? That sort of thing from your childhood. And we've seen like huge explosion because we do ticket reservations, even though they're free. That way we can kind of gauge the idea of the crowd. But we offer with that raffle, that we're doing every day, that if you pre-order your tickets and you check in and, show proof that you pre-ordered your tickets, you get free entry into that raffle without buying anything, just by reserving the tickets. But that gives us as event runners a better idea for a free event like this, what kind of a crowd we're going to have. And that was something that I sort of picked up from Texas Author and Reader Con, was that they were doing free tickets, but there was no incentive for getting tickets attached to it. So people are just like, well, I'll show up or whatever. But if you get an event ticket through Eventbrite, then it's going to send you reminders in your email. It's going to, that's going to pop up things for you to go, oh yeah, that book convention's coming up. And so I think that a lot of it is really seeing the online aspect of it, where it's not so much the draw of particular authors as it is the community. And that's really what I wanted to foster with this convention, is that community, because we had great feeling of community last year at Texas Author and Reader Con, where we were asking each other for advice about things. People who'd never done a book convention like this, asking, how many books should I bring? People really helping each other. And I really love that camaraderie between authors. But then you also get that with the readers, where we started throwing out things like videos that would say, find your new favorite author. And people really like being that person that finds that underground author that nobody else knows. They really like that, and like having a connection with somebody that they can watch them online and see them do things online, but know that, oh, hey, I met that author and I got them to sign my books, and they talked to me, had a great interaction with them. And so I've seen that a lot with indie authors, that if they have an online following where, they don't even have to be advertising their books, they're just talking about their day-to-day life on TikTok. If they're at one of those events that it's like, hey, this is a book talk event, then they are making those connections a lot more readily than if they're a bestseller.
So targeting the community and getting the word out in a strategic way. Okay, yeah, I see. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I mentioned that I did run the floor of Comic-Con, so I know what goes behind the scenes and how much work goes into this. What made you want to do this? I know the work that goes behind this.
Well, I will tell you exactly what I told my husband when I decided I was going to do this. I said, I might be crazy. I might be crazy, but I have the autistic audacity to think that I could pull this off. I have a lot of really great friends that I can rely on for certain things, and I have a lot of experience doing similar events that were more geared towards, like, Christian events with women's events. Did a lot of big organizations for things like that. And have worked a lot like in music ministry and things like that have helped me develop okay, these are things we absolutely have to have. These are things I can delegate. These are things I need to make sure I have a hand in. And so having that volunteer team, right now I have a sign up on the Facebook page. We haven't designated who's doing everything yet, but we have about 75 people who have signed up to volunteer for the event. And having people who are willing to commit time so that they can be a part of something bigger like this and develop a culture instead of just a convention really helps. It helps more than they know. So I've had to learn how to delegate. I'm a control freak, but I've had to learn how to delegate. And I really love the organization part of it. I for the last 3 years have made maps for conventions that lay out who's going to be where, so that it's a little bit easier than just having table numbers, things like that. I'm a jack of all trades, so I do a little bit of design work, do graphic design, things like that. And so building ads for this and everything, that's all in my wheelhouse. So it was something that I looked at and went, I could do this. Should I do it?
I love the support that the author community itself gives.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So when we go to like different, I guess telling you, when I used to go to the book shows themselves, I loved going to the different authors and finding out what it is that they wrote, so that people came to my table. We were able to like direct them to it, because for me and for you, and I know for Mike too, it's not, for me, it's not a competition.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's not a competition. For most authors, it's not a competition. We just want you to read the written word. And
yeah, it's a collaboration instead of competition.
Yeah. And for most authors, we support each other.
Mhm.
and it's not a competition.
Right.
It's
Right.
how can we help you as a
Mhm.
fellow author? And something like this is something that the author community, I'm sure, embraces.
Mhm.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there's had like tons of authors jonesing to get in on this thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a wait list like 30 deep.
Ah,
And I've told them, honestly, I don't, unless somebody has an emergency, I really don't feel like anybody's going to back out this year.
Mhm.
But seeing the response we've gotten from the independent author community and how people are really wanting to get in and be a part of something that is bigger than us as individuals,
Mhm.
and wanting to be part of something that's multi-genre, multi-age. I'm definitely going to be looking at a bigger venue next year,
good.
and we'll be offering all of those waitlist authors and all of our authors that attend and support this year, going to be offering them spots before we open it up for other people to apply.
It really is an opportunity to meet other authors, make
Mhm.
friends and acquaintances. That's how I've met almost all of the people that that I've known as authors, and including CJ. And it's something that is bigger than yourself as an author, but it's great to have sort of a support system where you can talk with other authors because they all go through the same issues and problems that
Mhm.
that you have, and you sometimes can give them some help as well. So met some of the neatest people
Oh,
at
yeah.
these book events and things like this.
Mommy says she loves that real sense of community for the authors, and we do. And it's something that even when I first started as an author, it's always, I found a mentor like that. And when you can turn around and help another author, it's a nice feeling. And it's always, as far as I know, it has always been that way. Like I said, I wasn't surprised that you had like a waiting list a mile long, because that's something that most authors would wholeheartedly embrace, is something like this. So you're going to have like a multi-level thing by the time this is done.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I definitely want it to be something that's a foot in the door for new authors too. That I met one of the people that's on the wait list at one of the events 2 years ago, and they were asking me, how did you get started? And I gave her like my information. I've been sending emails back and forth, and we've helped her. you know I- I've helped her through the process of getting her first book out there. And
Mhm.
so she's somebody that I know personally, that I had something to do with that. And so it's really awesome to see that for new authors, people who want to write. People ask me all the time, do you get sick of people asking you about, like, how do I get started? How do I do this? Or saying, oh, hey, I want to write a book too.
Right.
And I said, no, I love to see people create. So it's really great to be able to offer something for people to kind of get in on the ground floor.
Well, we have 1 minute left. Is there anything you want to add?
I just wanted to say thank you guys. This is one of those things that the author community is great about helping each other out and being here and being able to get the word out to other people that I wouldn't necessarily reach on my platforms. Really is appreciated.
Oh, we're happy to have
Oh
you.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Laura. If you want to learn more about the Texas Book Lovers Convention, just head to texasbookloverscon.com. That's TexasBookLoversCon.com. You can get it. She said it's free to enter, free to park, can't miss out. Tons of authors, tons of genres, panels, food trucks. Come on, you can check it out. It's apparently a book lovers convention that's as big as Texas itself. This is the first year. Apparently, there's going to be more. So make sure to check it out. Next week, we're going to have author John Paul read fantasy using D&D inspired themes. So check it out next week, 4 o'clock, same time, same station. We'll see you then.